Hey YouTube, what's going on? It's Mental Health Awareness Month, and during these trying times, it's more important than it ever has been. And so I want to talk about how depression and our Christian faith can impact each other, and how we can use our Christian faith to overcome depression and be able to beat the things that are holding us down. So if you'd like to find out how, stick around. Now more than ever, we need to focus on mental health. I don't think that Mental Health Awareness Month could have come at any better time. We're months into this lockdown, everybody is struggling, and we really need to find ways to lift each other up during these difficult times. So if you want to see how faith can impact depression and help us overcome that, for you or for someone you love, stick around to the end of the video, and I'm going to give some practical ideas that we can use in our spiritual lives to help us overcome these dark times. Like a lot of people, I found faith during the darkest of times. When I was a young man, just coming out of high school, I struggled with depression. And it was a really difficult time in my life, but it's also what eventually led me to Christ. And it was an important milestone in my life that even in that darkest time, that God was able to reach out to me and find a way to connect with me and lift me up and bring me out of that situation. Now, that's not to say that that was the end of the battle. Because for some people, depression is something that is a certain life event where it's only happening for a certain period. Many of you may be experiencing that right now for the first time as we're going through that pandemic. And you're not sure on what you need to do next and how can you overcome these things. You've tried turning to faith, but it just doesn't seem to be working. You're still struggling. You're still trying to find the answers. But don't give up hope. Because even though it seems like it's a bit of a roller coaster at times, there are ways to overcome it. The truth is, though, depression is just this darkness that hangs over our lives. It's something that I've struggled with for years, that even with faith, maybe there's something that's just wired in my brain wrong, but depression is something that has always been a challenge for me. That it's almost been an up and down battle between faith and depression for years. My Christian faith is what leads me out of those dark times. But as I become comfortable and I start to become a little more relaxed in my faith, something will happen, especially big catastrophic events, and then depression comes right back in. The darkness envelops me again, and I'm struggling to find my way out of it. But it took me a while until I finally realized that to get out of the darkness, I need to find light. And in that light, we can find our way back to where we belong and find our way back to joy and to happiness and overcome those things that we were struggling. We may not be out of the situation that we were in, whatever may have originally caused it. Maybe it was a breakup of a relationship, loss of a job, or the pandemic. That there are different things that we're going to battle throughout life, and those may not change. God's not going to miraculously deliver us from all of our troubles. But He can give us the hope and the strength and the joy that we need to be able to not stay in that darkness, that we can find happiness and just comfort in Him. For a long time, I felt bad for being a bad Christian. I thought that my mental health issues, my depression, the struggles that I faced meant that my faith wasn't very strong, that I must not be a good enough Christian. It actually made me stop for a while doing any sort of ministry because I really felt that who was I? That I wasn't qualified enough to be able to lead others and teach them about the faith because I had these struggles. But now I'm standing in front of you right now, and I'm just putting it all out on the line because I want other people to have the same courage. That we don't need to hide and sit low in the pews because we're afraid to talk about the struggles that we're having. That mental health is an issue that so many of us face. And it's something that we don't need to be ashamed of. And so as I continue, I just want to make a little disclaimer. I'm a firm believer in our mental health professionals. I think that going to therapy, psychiatry, and even certain times medications are the right thing to do, and they can help you immensely. But that doesn't mean that that's the only answer. What I found is a combination of the two, that blending my mental health with my Christian faith is exactly how I've been able to overcome these things. When you're sitting in a mental health therapy session, they often talk about different coping skills and mechanisms that you can use to bring yourself out of depression and out of these dark times. The greatest coping skill I've ever had is turning to my God is getting on my knees in prayer, and when I'm struggling and can't find the answers, I turn and I give it all to Him. I lay it all on the line and I don't think about it. I just allow Him to take it. I let Him help me carry that cross because I can't do it alone. So I'm not going to be afraid anymore to talk about mental health issues because it's the main reason why I'm here. It's the reason why I'm doing this ministry in the first place, is to help others that are struggling just like me. And it might not be depression, it might be something else. We all have different challenges that we have to face. But I want to be here for you, and I want to help you through this. And I hope that the videos that I'm creating can help encourage you to overcome whatever difficulties you might be facing. Because for me, it was faith. And more specifically, it was a relationship with Jesus Christ that has brought me through all of my dark times, even today. Even in this pandemic, when I look around and I see people really struggling and freaking out about things, faith is what has grounded me and kept me going through everything. Over the years, I've really embraced Ignatian Spirituality. And that comes from St. Ignatius of Loyola. And there were some key teachings in there that I thought really applied to my life. Because while there's a lot of contemplative spirituality that helps you go into these really deep meditative places with your faith, this was a more practical spirituality. It was a spirituality that helped me when I was struggling to blend between my mental health issues and my Christian faith. It brought Christ right there in the moment into my life. And so there's a few tools that I've taken from it that I plan on diving in deeper with in other videos that have specifically helped me during these times. The first thing that helped me is called Imaginative Prayer. And simply put, it's imagining your life and seeing God with you during those dark times. Now, there's two ways to do it. You can actually imagine walking alongside Jesus through the Gospels, or you can actually imagine Christ walking alongside you in your daily life. And that's the one that's really helped me. So when I'm going through a difficult time and I'm at the end of the day and I'm trying to, go through those challenges that I've been facing, I imagine Jesus standing next to me. I imagine God the Father's hands reaching out and lifting me up and holding me. And those are the things that help me get back to a good place again. It helps me to overcome all that blockage that's in my brain that's stopping me from getting right with God again. The second thing I like to do is called the daily Examen. And it's a way to go through our day every day. It's something that you would do, either every morning or every night before bed. Just spend a minute or two, just as you're closing your eyes, to imagine your day, right? To thank God that He's there with you, to see Him there as you're struggling and going through the difficult times, to see Him there cheering you on for the joys. And He's always there with you. And so it's a great way to be able to, take that imaginative prayer and make it a daily practice. And I have other videos on that, so go ahead and click on the links above and you'll be able to find out more about that. The next thing is actually one of what St. Ignatius calls his principle and foundation. In the principle and foundation, just to boil it down in simple terms, he tells us to not prefer health over sickness, wealth over poverty, and a few other analogies. And basically what he's trying to teach us is that it's not about, the good and the bad in our lives that impact our life with Christ. Our life with Christ is independent of that God can actually use the good times to draw us closer to Him in joy, but He can also find ways to bring us closer when we're in those dark times, because that's when we turn to reach out to Him. So we're not supposed to really, focus on either one of those, that we should be indifferent to the things that are going on in our lives. And as somebody that struggles with depression and that gets overwhelmed by difficulties and challenges that come in my life, that indifference has been what saved my life many times. That being able to not allow the world to crush in on me and take me over. That I'm able to stand firm, even in the midst of a pandemic, even in the midst of a job loss, even in the midst of a broken relationship. I'm able to stand strong in my faith in Christ because I know that no matter what happens in my life, He's still there. I may have lost everything else, but He's still there. The last thing I want to talk about is finding God in all things. And it's simple. It's exactly what you think. We always look for God in these big moments, or we're looking for Him to come down off a cloud and do lightning bolts to give us messages or whatever it may be. But sometimes you'll get just the best message from Him in a close friend, in a hug from your child, or from all kinds of little things that happen throughout our day. That we can find little joys, that even in the midst of something like a pandemic or a job loss, that we can find little joys in our life. That we can find things that still make us happy regardless of the world crashing around us. That it doesn't take big things to make us happy. We don't need week-long vacations to find true happiness. We can find happiness right here in our homes with our loved ones doing our everyday activities. So I know that that was just a brief introduction to all of those different topics, and I really do plan on diving deep into them. I've already started creating some of those videos, so make sure that you check some of those out. But in the meantime, make sure you subscribe, because I'm going to continue diving deeper into each one of these subjects. Whether it's imaginative prayer, the daily examen, or finding God in all things. I'm going to spend time with each one of these so that you can figure out how to blend your mental health issues with your Christian faith, and be able to use your Christian faith to overcome depression and anxiety and all the other challenges that are thrown at you. And as I get ready to wrap up here, make sure to hit the like button if you or someone you know has struggled with mental health issues. Leave a comment. Tell us about your personal story or a story of somebody that you know where faith has helped them overcome it. Help encourage others to be open and not be afraid to share about their issues. So if you want to take this journey with me, make sure you subscribe. There's more videos up here, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.